Chandler Ling is a well-respected businessman and merchant here in the city. Until recently, I had no reason to suspect him of any wrongdoing. When I investigated Ling's shop, I found a valuable knife that I had purposely entrusted to one of my men, a man who has since disappeared. Chandler Ling had a knife belonging to a man whose body couldn't be found. That was all the evidence I required. I have no idea. The two men were seen together before we arrested Ling, but I have no other information about Zibao. He spends most of his time in the heart of the Empire Tavern, and he doesn't seem to have dealings with anyone else besides Chandler Ling. I know if I went to speak with him, I would get nowhere, but you could speak to him without raising suspicion. I wish there was something concrete I could tell you. They're like a whisper on the wind or a shifting shadow. You think you see something, and then there's nothing. Whoever is behind the slavers must have a great deal of power. To remain that invisible is a hard thing to do. Good. Look for him in the heart of the Empire Tavern. It's upstairs at the Imperial Arena. Don't scare him away. If we lose him, we lose our last connection to Ling.
Do we have time to deal with this? I didn't agree to join you so we could solve everyone else's problems.
I don't know why you're wasting your time. I'm obviously innocent, and yet you still want to risk yourself needlessly. I'm no fool. Those men haven't returned, and I can assure you it isn't because they've decided to take a holiday. Chasing after criminals is dangerous work. Obviously, there are risks involved. Why would you risk yourself when even the local minister seems content with the scholar's arrest? What's to tell? I'm a merchant and quite a good one. My clients are usually very happy with my goods. You likely haven't heard of me simply because I have a very elite clientele. The average person on the street cannot afford the items I sell. Other than my occupation, I suspect we are very much the same, you and I, though I happen to be a little more restricted than you at the moment. Doing? I wasn't doing anything more than I usually do in a day's work. I was selling my wares to a few of my preferred clients. Prefect Jitong was one of them. The next thing I know, guards confiscate my goods and tell me I'm suspected of slave trading. It was likely the most ludicrous thing I've ever been told. Of course, the prefect claims that some of my items belong to his missing men, but that doesn't mean I took the items from their lifeless bodies. In a given day, I meet with several buyers and probably twice as many sellers. There are always more sellers than buyers. My job is to determine whether something is worth buying, not whether the seller is worth buying from. If I see a bargain, I don't care who the seller is. Suffice to say, those items could be from any number of sellers. I don't recall who sold them to me, but that certainly doesn't make me guilty of slave trading. I can honestly say I had never met or heard of the man until he was arrested. He's obviously not wealthy enough to be one of my clients. Apparently, he spends a good deal of time with the poorer folk in the city. No doubt that's why he is under suspicion. Doesn't strike you as a bit odd? A scholar with all the benefits that position entails, choosing to spend time with the poor people. It does seem a little suspicious. No more than you've heard for yourself, I'm sure. They are a myth, a rumor, really. Nobody has ever seen them, and nobody has any proof they exist. And yet, there is still a belief that they exist. Madmen terrorizing the poor and abducting the helpless. It all seems very superstitious. Abducting a person isn't like picking someone's pocket, you know. There would be evidence, signs of a struggle. But people will believe what they want to. Of course, do what you need to. If you discover anything, it will only prove my innocence further. Good luck.
So you think you can free me? Prefect Jitong has sent many good men to their deaths trying to free me. I hope you won't get into similar trouble. Well, that's what Jitong fears. I have no reason to doubt him. Besides, why else would the men not return and their belongings suddenly appear on the market?
Pure coincidence. It's not proof. It's purely circumstantial. Anyone will tell you that.
At any rate, it seems likely that's what has happened to the men. I feel terrible for them, but I have my own problems to deal with, as you can see. I am a scholar, though still a junior scholar by most regards. I assist the philosophers and scholars with their work. It's a good life, though I can't help feeling guilty sometimes. The scholars and philosophers have many privileges, while so many live with so little. I spend my spare time in the poor quarters, helping where I can. If I have any extra money, I use it to help the people there. It's not much, but I like to think it helps. I don't know. I was just down in the poor quarters helping a family with some repairs on their hut. I was leaving their house when the guards came for me. They told me I was suspected of abducting people from the poor quarters. I told them it was ridiculous, that I only wanted to help the poor, but they didn't listen. I admit I spend time in the poor quarters, but I don't try to hide it. I'm there several times a week, in fact, usually in plain sight of everyone. Well, nothing really. I'd never heard of him before this. I heard what Jitong said about him, but that's about it. He seems decent enough, I suppose. Nothing. I've heard rumors in the past few months. The residents in the poor areas were getting worried, though I never knew anyone who disappeared. One of the girls I helped out in the poor area said her uncle had disappeared, but I never met him. She was devastated, of course, and she blamed the slavers. But it was all just speculation. No one had ever seen anyone being abducted. There wasn't even evidence of struggles or violence. I don't know what else to tell you. I understand. If there's anything that might help you find the slave traders, I will gladly tell you. Please, don't give up until you've found them.
Hello again. I don't mean to sound impatient, but have you spoken with Zibao yet? All right, remember, Zibao is a...
Always, I say all. You look...
There are rumors flitting about the city that you seek the attentions of the executioners. These rumors come from the palace itself, leaving me intrigued. You are a novice with no standing in the arena. What makes you think you are of any interest to me? Then show it with your skills, not your mouth. Anyone can talk about their victories. I need people who let actions speak for them. If you were to knock Iron Soldier from his perch as Silver Division champion, I would be impressed. I will be here if you wish to petition me further, but I don't acknowledge anything less than the best. Return when you are worthy, and no sooner.
Many people try to break into the Bronze Division and fail miserably. You should be proud of yourself.
You deserve it. It was an honor to face you.
Crimson Kana is the champion of this round. You'll have to face her eventually. Be ready when you do. Now that you have qualified for the Bronze Division, your challenges will be more difficult, but you'll earn greater rewards. The stars themselves need to hear of Silver Phoenix if you're to make it in this division, so I've prepared a match to remember. The guards rounded up a group of subhuman things around the Great Southern Forest. We're going to release them into the ring in groups for you. Are you ready to get started? Excellent. Follow me and we'll get you ready for your next match.
These monsters crave the flesh of man.
That was a good start to the Bronze Division. Those beasts are far stronger than they look. Next, you're going to step into what we call the Pit of Pain. It's not the most original name, I'll admit, but that's 500 years of tradition for you. The arena floor will be set up with ancient magical devices. They will attempt to fry you to a crisp, much to the crowd's delight. Your job is to stay on your feet for the course of the match while they fling deadly projectiles your way. I'd suggest dodging, but that's just me. Are you ready to get started? Excellent.